All right, guys, welcome. Tuesday, October 28th, the last week of October before November. I am Mileage Mike, traveler, engineer, and content creator. We got Halloween on Friday, and November starts on Saturday. So I hope you guys are enjoying this fall weather because it's about to get chilly outside. We got some freezing temperatures overnight out here in Colorado and some other parts of the country. But enough about all that. Let's get right into what you guys came here for, and that is the transportation news. All right, and I know everyone loves to hear some negativity, but we're actually going to start off today with some good news. Good news is that gas prices are dropping just in time for the holidays. Let's take a look at what's going on across the country in terms of gas.
Gas prices fell 5 cents in the past week and have been dropping all month long. Consumer reporter John Mettery shows us why and how long they might stick around. Here's his Don't Waste Your Money report.
I'm sure you've noticed gas prices have fallen to their lowest price of the year in many areas, their lowest prices since the peak of the pandemic. And that's starting to impact consumers, and in a good way.
As gas prices fall below $3.
Yeah, $2.87, that's great.
Drivers like Raquel Jackson say it's already helping their holiday shopping.
Anything helps right now. A little bit helps. Goes a long way.
These $2.87 prices, though, look high compared to some areas, like $2.61.
We drive around a lot, so it's nice to be able to pay less when we do fill up.
Becky Cook is also counting her savings.
You think it's going to help people for the holiday season shopping?
Yes, absolutely. I already know it's going to help us.
It's a gift for consumers, and the timing of it couldn't be any better.
With Black Friday shopping just a month away, a report from the investment firm Raymond James says this should provide a boost to consumer spending. Patrick DeHaan of Gas Buddy agrees.
Gasoline price is certainly one of the key economic barometers that many Americans use. If prices are high, they feel oppressed. If they decline or if they're low, people's sentiment on how they feel about the economy drastically improves.
DeHaan credits less demand in the fall. Good news about the Israeli-Gaza conflict and the switch to cheaper winter gas. So predictions of a consumer slowdown this fall may be premature thanks to this sudden gift at the gas pump.
Not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Of course, a refinery fire or a flare-up in the Middle East could send prices back up, but enjoy these low prices for now so you don't waste your money. I'm John Mattery's ABC 27 News.
Hi.
Yeah, this is definitely accurate. I definitely got to say that. I was up in the suburbs over the weekend out here near Denver. I think it's Northland. And I saw a gas station. I drove by, and the gas price was like $2.09. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I haven't seen a price like that since 2020. So, yeah, Americans got to enjoy this break while we got it. Hopefully it stays on. And man, we could have really used this when I was in California because out there gas was $4 or $5 per gallon when I was out there in September. So you guys let me know if you're seeing lower prices where you are. I am. Actually, when I'm not traveling, I rarely even buy gas. I only buy gas maybe like once a month. But it's good nonetheless always to see some type of daily expense or regular expense for the Americans out here dropping down. So lower gas prices across the country. All right. Now, still on the topic of gas prices, in the wake of these lower gas prices around the country, we got a state here, little New Hampshire over in the Northeast, is considering increasing the gas tax in that state. Let's see what the situation is in New Hampshire.
The state is about $400 million short for transportation projects. Of the state's 88 projects in its 10-year plan, officials are looking to keep 39, delay 15, and remove 34. One of those projects that'll take longer is widening the section of the Everett Turnpike here in Merrimack.
What we would need to do to complete that project is we need to spread the spending out over more years. And that way our revenue more matches our expenditures related to that project.
The state pays for a lot of its road projects through funds generated from the tolls and the gas tax, as well as getting some money from federal grants. But officials say that revenue hasn't been able to keep up with the cost of construction.
It's really a case of, costs increasing, revenue staying relatively flat. So something's got to give, and that's the level of magnitude of project reductions that we've been discussing.
One idea, to raise tolls.
Well, if they increased, I'd probably look at different ways to go around them, maybe make the back roads busier.
Somebody has to pay, so we drive every day. We need the road, so we have to pay.
Another option.
Hey, this guy has the right idea. Hey, people don't like it, but he is correct. You got to pay. We're going to drive on the roads. We got to pay. Now, me personally, I'm more of a fan of tolls over the gas tax in America is way lower than it should be anyway at the federal level. So I personally think the gas tax needs to desperately be raised, but we know Congress is never going to raise the gas tax because nobody wants to deal with the political fallout. So it's up to the states to raise their own taxes and toll more roads. So, and when you come down to that choice, I'm more of a fan of tolling the road. You get that direct user fee. So, it's your choice if you want to pay with your time or pay with your money. So I like consumers having a choice. Take the toll road or take the back road. Pay the toll. But let's see what else they got to say. But yeah, this guy, he is correct. Somebody's got to pay. Somebody has got to pay.
Increasing the gas tax.
That's kind of messed up. Gas is already pretty expensive. I don't think they should do that.
But some say all of this, it's money well spent.
How are the roads here in New Hampshire?
Excellent.
Worth the money?
Oh yeah, of course they are. They take good care of it.
I mean, I like this guy. He's smart. You know what? He is right too. When I was in New Hampshire back in 2022, I believe, New Hampshire does have some really good quality roads. Interstate 93 was great. The Everett Turnpike was great. So New Hampshire's doing their thing. So you got to pay to have those good roads up there in good old New Hampshire.
DOT officials say that projects that have already started construction, those will be finished. When it comes to other projects that are still in the design process, it'll then be moved forward to a new version of the state's 10-year plan. We're live here in Hooksett. Maria Wilson, WMUR News.
Have a great day.
All right, guys. Yes. So if you are in New Hampshire, it is coming. You're about to get a somewhat higher gas tax and or increase in the toll prices on those toll roads you have up there. So it is coming, but now is a good time. Well, we got the federal price of gas all around going down. Now is a good time to increase the taxes while people are kind of comfortable. So I have no problem with it. Let's get it done. All right, now we're going down to the south to Texas, H-Town, a city that is definitely not known for its transit options, is Houston. Houston has some of the largest, actually the widest highway in the United States, and some of the biggest, most gigantic interchanges you will find in the world. But building transit in Houston has been challenging, to say the least. So let's take a look at this option that they came up with in Houston that's a little different than your typical transit.
Making it even easier to get around town using public transit. And I got an inside look at their new option called Metro Now. Metro later? No, Metro Now, a new service to help you get around easier. Metro is expanding how people move around Houston with a new transit option that feels more like a ride share. I took a fun spin around downtown Houston with the chair of Metro, Elizabeth Brock, to experience for myself.
It works a lot like Uber. You call and you ask for service to come on an app on your phone, picks you up, and it takes you to where you need to go within a 3 to 5 mile radius.
It's called Metro Now, and it's solving what transportation officials call the first and last mile problem, helping folks reach trains and buses more easily.
Many times people can't walk a mile or 15 blocks in either the rain or in the heat, and this will help get them there.
From dialysis appointments to grocery store runs, users say it's changing their lives.
It's just having a transformative impact on people's lives, because sometimes it's those short distances that can be really challenging.
The vehicles are electric, easy to board, and offer fans.
These they're pretty spacious. You know, they're not hard to get in and out of.
For now, the service is free in areas like downtown, the Heights, and the 3rd Ward, but Metro says expansion is on the horizon.
Our next expansion will be on the near north side, so the other side of 45 to include full.
All right, I will say this about transit, which they absolutely are correct. A lot of times when you consider how to get somewhere and you're like, okay, I don't want to drive, I might want to use transit. You think to yourself, okay, it's going to take X amount of time to get to the bus stop or to get to the train station. Even right here in Denver, one of the reasons I rarely use transit is the difficulty of even getting to the train station. So to get to a train station, you got to use a rideshare service anyway, at which point you might as well just drive to your final destination. So this right here can definitely plug that hole if it's a reasonable price, like they're saying here. So this actually sounds like a pretty decent idea. Now, unless you got a large fleet of these things, you're not going to move that many people. So, you know, it's just another option. Don't expect this to have much impact on actual roadway traffic, but it's a good option for mobility, so you have more choices. So definitely you can use this to get to and from the bus stop or the train station rather than just driving your car from end to end. So not a bad idea.
Whitman, that area.
Okay. Well, all you have to do is access that Metro Now as part of your side of town, and then download the Ride Circuit app, so you know everything's online. They try to make it as easy as possible. Okay.
Not Metro later.
No.
Metro Now.
Metro Now. You know, but seriously, people are getting from point A to point B, you know, shorter distances, but those who need to like pick up groceries, those who have
More
issues
convenient.
getting to places. Yeah.
All right, Houston. Metro Now. Be on the lookout for that. I might have to check that out the next time I make it down to good old H-Town. All right, and what we got next here, another transit, we might as well call this Transit Tuesday. We got so many transit stories today, but this one is about something that I've mentioned before multiple times on the channel. Politics, voting, and voting for what you claim you want in your cities. Now, this is an off presidential election year, so we already know what's going to happen. A lot of Americans are just going to sit at home, cry on the internet, and not participate in the process. But you got a lot of local elections coming up here in under a week. And in Charlotte, one of the things on the ballot is transit, a tax to fund multiple transit lines in Charlotte over the next several decades. So you guys have probably seen people online always saying they want transit. Well, let's see what they vote for. Let's look at the story.
First here with early voting kicking off tomorrow, discussions continue tonight on a major item on the ballot for Mecklenburg County voters. We're talking about the 1-cent sales tax for transportation related projects. If approved, it would raise the sales tax in Mecklenburg County from 7.25% to 8.25%. So that means, for example, a $100 purchase at the store, you would pay $8.25 in sales tax instead of $7.25. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard spoke with folks on both sides of this issue about how the measure could change Charlotte's transportation system for years to come.
Before polls even open, voters' phones have already been lighting up, flooded with text messages urging them to vote yes or no.
Both of them are wearing me out.
City leaders and transportation advocates say the tax is critical to fund light rail expansion, safer roads, and long-promised sidewalks, calling it an investment in Charlotte's future.
People need to take that seriously. It's potential investments in the future of this community and how we'll grow and how we'll be able to keep up with the influx of 157 people a day moving to this area.
Others, including several community organizations like Action NC, are pushing back, saying the extra tax would hit low-income families hardest and question whether money will really be spent as promised.
The city paints you the best picture that they can. For low-income communities, it's asking us to pay for a train coming to bring in folks for the suburbs, for the corporate community, in exchange for bus shelters.
As both sides make their final push tonight, knocking on doors and sharing information online,
The fix is voting this down and starting over.
the community will ultimately decide if the project is worth every penny with every vote.
Drive around, look around. I mean, are you satisfied with what you see?
And early voting will begin October 16th and continue through November 1st. Reporting for WCNC Charlotte.
All right, so there it is, guys, in Charlotte on the ballot. And you see the mayor here. She is also up for re-election. So if you like what she's doing, vote for her again. If you don't, then vote for change. So the mayor's up for re-election. And there is a transit tax, and this, if I recall, is to fund the red line going north to Lake Norman, and the silver line to the Charlotte airport from downtown. So if the people of Charlotte really want this, they'll vote for it and put their money where their mouth is, or they won't, and we'll just have to work on widening Interstate 77. Well, you need to widen that anyway, but there you go, Charlotte. Local elections. And speaking of local elections, maybe we should do a video after the results from all these local elections come out and see what the turnout was in this off presidential cycle for the local elections. Anybody want to bet that we can get more than 25% to show up across America's largest cities? I'd probably guess about 15% turnout on average. All right, our next story is up in Portland. I got the Portland shirt on, and I actually got a Portland video dropping tomorrow, so guys, be ready for that. But yeah, in Portland, they got several bridges over the Willamette River, one of them which is the Burnside Bridge. And what's going on in Oregon is that they're trying to get these bridges up to the standard that can withstand earthquakes, because most of the bridges in the area are older and not built to withstand an earthquake. And the next big one that does hit, if it were to hit right now, would be a lot of pain. So let's take a look at what's going on here with the Burnside Bridge in downtown Portland.
Burnside Bridge in Portland has been delayed again. This time it's indefinite. There's no new start date for construction, as county leaders say they're unlikely to get federal funds to move forward. The project is intended to replace the century-old Burnside Bridge with one capable of withstanding a major earthquake in the Pacific Northwest. We've already seen some renderings of a potential new bridge. Multnomah County is continuing its design work, saying it will reach a 60% milestone by next summer. But construction now looks a long way off, if it's possible at all. The 2027 start date was pushed back to 2028 earlier this year. This summer, Multnomah County applied again for hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funds, even though county officials felt it was unlikely.
I think we're realistic about our chances to be competitive for discretionary grants with this current federal administration. It didn't take that much staff work because we've already done it before. It took a little cleaning up. So if it really took a lot of staff work, I'm not sure the benefits would outweigh the work, to your question. But in this case, it does.
That application for $447 million from a federal bridge investment program is still under review. The county says it expects to hear back around the start of the new year, but county leaders seem pessimistic, saying today that the current federal climate is stalling the Burnside Bridge replacement project. Community Services Director Margie Bradway said in a statement, "As uncertain as the future appears, if and when things change, our goal is for the county to be as resourceful and..."
Yeah, the federal government, I'm sure you guys have seen the news, the federal government and Oregon and Portland are not on good terms right now. But let me show you where this Burnside Bridge in Portland. Get over here to the USA. Okay, so you see downtown Portland is right here. And you got all these little bridges that go over the Willamette River, which runs down here. So the Burnside, that's the Hawthorne. Yep, the Burnside, this is one of the main ones right here. So yeah, this is the current bridge. And this is the one that has that that Welcome to Oregon sign. I think you can see it right here. Yep. Yeah, that's the Burnside Bridge, the one with this view right here. So if you visit Portland, this is like a popular spot for people to take photos. So this bridge is over a century old and in dire need of replacement to withstand the earthquakes. So they want $400 million from the federal government. And there you go. You see Interstate 5 right there running next to it. That major interchange where Interstate 84 ends. So yeah, the Burnside Bridge. Let's get back to it.
It is possible to offer a construction-ready project. When the federal government is ready to invest in our region again, we'll be prepared to hit the ground running and maximize the benefits that federal funding offers. Earlier this year, crews tested the foundations and soil around the Burnside Bridge to see how the bridge would respond to a seismic event. They found the soil is actually more resilient than they first thought, helping engineers shape their plans for a new Burnside Bridge. Currently, there are no Portland bridges crossing the Willamette that are deemed seismically safe. A Burnside Bridge replacement would close that crossing for roughly 5 years, seriously impacting traffic in Portland. The projected cost of the project has nearly doubled from the county's longtime goal of under $900 million to a new projection of $1.6 to $1.8 billion. The county blames costs for labor and materials, even though they recently shaved $160 million off the total price tag.
So what he said is that none of these bridges in Portland right now can withstand a seismic event. So Portland is a disaster waiting to happen on that front. So basically all these bridges, we have a major seismic event, then Portland will be crippled, because even Interstate 5 bridge is outdated and can't withstand an earthquake either to cross the Columbia River to the north. So, but when you apply for these grants from the federal government, you are competing against other states and cities that want money for bridges as well. So we'll have to see early next year what gets approved. But yeah, what's going on between Oregon and the federal government in the news lately, I wouldn't be surprised if they did not get this grant for this bridge, but we shall see in a few months. All right, so I got several videos on the channel, if you guys remember, where we talked about which states and which cities were gaining population, which ones are losing population, and things like that. Well, Florida is one of those places that has been booming for a long time, especially since the pandemic. Florida was growing like crazy. Everyone's moving to Florida, especially from New York and other places in the Northeast. Florida has been a hot spot. But were people over leveraging themselves? Could they really afford these homes that they've been buying? You know, there's no state tax, but there is still property tax. Let's see what's going on in Florida, where Lakeland now leads the nation in foreclosures. What's going on in Lakeland?
Our ongoing commitment here to amplify the stories and the voices that impact your daily life. New data shows Lakeland leads the entire country in foreclosure activity among metro areas of its size. Tonight, Polk County reporter Rebecca Petit speaking with local experts who tell us the region's rapid growth and Florida's ongoing insurance crisis could be playing a major role.
And before we do that, in case some of you aren't familiar with where Lakeland is, because it's not nationally known like that, Lakeland is in central Florida between Orlando and Tampa. So it's kind of squeezed between the Orlando metro area and the Tampa metro area. Sometimes I've seen some places where they include it with Tampa, but it's basically centered around here. Lakeland is the main city. Then you got Winter Haven, basically Polk County. So it's right here along Interstate 4. A little clearer right there, between Orlando and Tampa. Very dangerous place for driving, as we saw in my Interstate 4 video. But yeah, it's been a popular area. Tampa and Orlando and Lakeland, all these areas in Florida are booming in population. So let's see what's going on with the housing situation there.
Foreclosure is often a stressful and emotional experience. It's something real estate broker Bob Miller knows all too well.
It was humiliating. It was humbling.
It was embarrassing, and I curled into a little ball and I waited till they knocked on the door.
Miller tells me his own home was foreclosed on back in 2007 during the economic downturn. He now specializes in helping homeowners avoid foreclosure. Miller says climbing insurance costs is why some homeowners can no longer afford their mortgage payments.
Since 2022, the home rates went up 50%. Home values went up 50%. And now home values have dropped. So those people are stuck in their homes. And now they're seeing insurance premiums go up, and they really don't have a lot of options. Some of them are simply opting just not to pay anymore.
The Lakeland Winter Haven area had the highest foreclosure activity among similar-sized metros in the country in the third quarter of 2025. That's according to a new report by real estate data company Adam. This means 1 in every 470 homes in Lakeland had foreclosure filings, compared to the national rate of 1 in every 1,400. But not everyone sees the trend as a crisis.
We're not at a disaster stage of the real estate market. The real estate market is still healthy.
Gate Artie, realtor with Keller Williams Realty in Lakeland, tells me the housing market is simply adjusting to rapid population growth.
That increasing population, everything is going to increase. The rate of sales is going to increase. The rate of foreclosures is going to increase. The rate of construction is going to increase.
Experts say communication is key, and homeowners struggling to make payments should reach out to their lender early before foreclosure becomes inevitable.
The biggest misconception is that the banks want your house. Given the choice, they'd rather take the monthly payment over your home. So call them when you simply can't make the payment. They are going to work with you.
Lakeland is not the only Florida metro experiencing foreclosure pain. The Sunshine State is home to 5 out of the 10 highest foreclosure rates. In Lakeland, I'm Polk County reporter.
Yep, and that's what it's mainly about, the insurance. Now, Florida, as you guys know, is very vulnerable to certain natural disasters, and insurance rates are out of control in Florida. Now, me personally, I like visiting Florida, especially in the winter. Had a great time down there every time I've been down there. But I would never buy real estate in Florida. Even if I were to live in Florida, I would just rent in Florida. Because real estate in Florida I don't see it as a good, viable, long-term investment. Especially with what's happening with the natural disasters and the insurance premiums. But a lot of people from up north take their pensions, they come and retire in Florida and buy homes down there, especially older Americans. Now, me personally, I would recommend you be a halfback. You know, the halfbacks who come down to Florida and they realize they're a little too far from New York and they move halfway back. They move to Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe even Virginia sometimes. I think you get a much better bang for your buck in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee than you do in Florida. Now that everyone has moved to Florida and it's gotten so expensive. But yeah, foreclosures are up in Florida. And all right, guys, that's it for today's stories, news, and updates. Let me know what you think in the comments below about the stories that we discussed here today. Also, make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow, where we're going to talk about the traffic in Portland, Oregon. That's going to be a good one. I already see that I pronounced the river wrong. Is Willamette, not Williamette. So you can expect that in the video. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.